Lance Meadow with you here as Columbia gets set for its Ivy League opener against Princeton. They finally play a home game, and it has been quite some time. As always, we are joined by head coach Al Bagnoli. And Coach, let's start building off of the 42-6 win over Georgetown, a very impressive showing. I want to start on the defensive side of the ball. Through 2 games, you've only allowed 1 touchdown. You've had a pair of pick sixes, and you've been pretty steady against the run. How much has the defensive performance, though, taken pressure and given you great field position from an offensive standpoint?
Yeah, they've done a good job with the turnover margin. We certainly have turned both teams over quite a bit, which has shortened the field down. They've done an especially good job versus the run game, and it's forced people in predictable situations with the pass game. And then we've been the beneficiary of an offense that has scored some points and gotten ahead and forced the other team to kind of abandon run game and just try to play catch up and get one-dimensional. So it's been a combination of a lot of things, but certainly been very happy with our defensive staff, our defensive players, how well everybody's been integrated, because there's a lot of new faces that everybody's had to plug in, both as a coach and as players. So it's been very gratifying for us, to look at that after 2 games, and hopefully it continues.
And as I mentioned, the offense has fed off of that intensity. You look at the last game, Joe Green had a career high in passing yards. 5 players caught at least 2 passes. You did a nice job spreading the wealth. How much is this what you envisioned, the balance that you've been able to showcase as a staple moving forward?
Yeah, I think every offense, especially when you reside in the Northeast and you're going to face some bad weather games at some point, you want to be balanced. And I think the thing I'm most satisfied about is you look at the 2 games, we've rushed for over 200 yards in both, and we've thrown for a considerable amount in both games. So if you could do that, you're kind of dictating what the defense can and can't do, and they're going to have to make choices of what they're trying to stop. And then it puts you in predictable scenarios where you have the matchups that you want. Either it's a run game matchup or it's a pass game matchup, but you have advantage, and that's what we're trying to do. So if we can just stay balanced, keep, we had 30 first downs, and we were 13 for 16 on third downs. It means that you're on schedule. It means that you're not getting into an abundance of third and longs, and you're able to be somewhat unpredictable in what you can and can't do in third down.
Explosive plays, though, has been a key ingredient over the first 2 games. Now that you go up against a team like Princeton, which now you're getting into conference play, how critical are those explosive plays in maybe alleviating having to put together those lengthy drives that you just talked about?
Yeah, I mean, it's been something that we've put a tremendous amount of onus on going, this past summer leading to here. We recognize against good defensive teams, and if you go back to last year, I don't think too many people know that 4 or 5 of the best ranked defensive teams in the country were in the Ivy League, statistically speaking, points against, yardage, etc. So you're going to play against really good defensive teams, and it's hard to really piece together, multiple 12-play, 70-yard drives that take 7.5 minutes. So you have to try to get some explosive plays that take chunks of yardage and kind of get you out of those situations. And that's what we've been trying to do. We've been better at it. We'll hopefully continue to improve at it, but it starts with the quarterback. And obviously you need some explosive kids outside, but you also need the balance of an offensive line. And then you need a running game, that keeps everybody at bay and allows you to throw the ball down the field.
And also enables you to convert in the red zone, too, when you have smaller spaces. Now, the results, as we just talked about, very encouraging on both sides of the ball. Here comes now your first test in Ivy League play. What is your message to the team, and how much in your mind is this a litmus test to see how success in non-conference play can translate to conference play?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing, and I tell our kids this, forget about who we're playing. The helmet doesn't matter. It could be Princeton. It could be Wagner. It could be Harvard. It could be Penn. It doesn't matter. We really have to do a good job of making sure that we improve individually, side of the ball, and as a team from week to week. And we have to just stay on the same trajectory moving forward. And if we do that, it's going to give us a good opportunity to compete against all these teams. Now, everybody knows Princeton's a premier program, defending co-champion from last year, have really good players. I don't think that's a secret to me. It's not a secret to our kids, but really our emphasis hasn't been on Princeton. It's been on, all right, what can we do better? Can we piece together more consistent play for 60 minutes? Can we improve in X area or Y area? Or how do we shore up this? Or how do we now tweak this? And so it's all about us. And it's all about trying to make sure that we have a blueprint, a template that we can employ on a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday that will give them some success on Saturday. It really doesn't matter who we're playing at this point. It's more about trying to get our kids to execute better and worry less about their kids and who we're facing.
Now, with that being said, continuity is such a key factor for all the Ivy League teams, but this Princeton team has changed some of its personnel.
Yeah.
They have a new quarterback, still have a few explosive wide receivers. As you've been studying them, what's different about this year's Tigers team?
Well, I'll start off with what's the same. Okay, so, they're really, really solid from top to bottom. When you just look at offensively, their offensive line has always been one of the elite offensive lines, and they've got really good blocking tight ends. They've got a big, strong quarterback who's inexperienced, but he's talented. They play a bevy of running backs. They got dynamic wide receivers, some of the most explosive kids we'll see all year. Then you go to defense, and they can disrupt you on all, certainly the down kids and certainly the second level. They're a little bit young in the secondary, but really athletic. And they're really sound in the kicking game. So you kind of look at it and you say, okay, where's the chink in the armor? And there aren't many, so you're going to have to play really sound. You're going to have to really do a good job of minimizing turnovers and, doing some of the things that we constantly stress to give yourself a chance. But they're really talented. It's a little bit different than last year. They lost some elite kids. They had the defensive player of the year in our league, who was a major disruption to everybody that he played against. They had quite a bit of experience in the offensive line. They had a dual threat quarterback, and they had a 3-year starter at tailback. So, they're replacing them with really good players, but maybe not with the same experience or maturity.
I mentioned off the top, it's been quite some time since you played a home game. We had to go back to the archives, Coach. You have to go back to the mid-1970s, the last time you haven't played a home game since October. How much are you personally, as well as your team, itching to get out to this field?
Yeah, well, let's start off our administrative staff, who's had to piece together all these trips. So they're the happiest. Last week was really crazy because we also had a JV game. So we had an away game, we had a home JV game, we had developmental lift, we had Sunday practice.
A lot of balancing.
Oh, God. So it'll be good because, we've been on campus since August 18th. And actually, it'll be October before we actually play anybody, in the game. So it'll be nice. And this year, I'd like our schedule only in the sense that instead of only having 3 Ivy League games home, we finally have 4, which hasn't been the case over 3 of the last 4 years. And some of the schools that have historically been in the upper echelon, we finally get at home. So if you just look at what's happened because of COVID, in 3 out of the last 4 years, we were at Princeton, we were at Dartmouth, we were at Yale, for example, and those are 3 of the premier teams in our league. So we finally get them home, and obviously it'll be fun to actually not get on a bus and dress in our locker room and see what happens.
Sleep in your own beds and so forth.
Yeah.
Always nice when you have those accommodations.
Yeah,
well, Coach,
absolutely.
best of luck this Saturday. We look forward to the game.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Columbia collides with Princeton in their Ivy League opener. Kickoff 1 p.m. Eastern. You can watch the game on SNY and ESPN.